And we live. Like, we really live. Like, my first time trying it out kinda live. Like, I know y'all see me shaking the camera in my bed, kinda live. Happy Wednesday and welcome to another Everybody Can Go Convo. I am your host, Jesse Holly, and thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in for my very first live. I was like, you know what? Let me see what this whole thing is about. Will people be going live and doing their pod live on YouTube, Insta, wherever, whatever. So y'all gonna get this live, raw and unfiltered. We obviously ain't gonna be able to do no edits because this is live. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about. I'm bringing you another one of those quotes that I was like, oh, because it stung a little bit when I read it. But I was like, you know how sometimes like the sting is a good sting. It was like a good little like it stung when I read it. I I was like, yeah, let me talk to y'all about it. So the quote that I read, shout out to Trish Elton, one of his quotes that he posted recently during this week. It said, "The only person who is coming to save you is the version of you that is sick of the current version of you." And I was like, hold on, let me read that again. Let me run that back. Okay, so the only person that's coming to save you is the version of you that's sick of the current version of you. And I was like, hey, yo, like, I felt like that was something worth talking about and worth covering simply because I'm like, there are so many times and so many things about ourselves and different situations or different scenarios, whatever, what have you, that we'll feel a type of way about, but it's easy to just let it happen for you, just let it happen to you, to not like take action so that you can get the change that you want, so that you can get the results that you want. And I'm like, yo, that's really true. That's when I started to, in my own life, see actual change when I was like, oh, wait a minute, I need a hero. And I made sure that I became one instead of waiting around for somebody else to come and save me from whatever it was that I didn't like about my situation, about my actions, about my personality, about my position at work or my qualification, any of those areas. Like literally just me as a person. When I was like, you know what? I want to go higher. I want to level up. I want to do something different. That took me being like, you know what? Nobody's gonna come save me but me. Like, ain't nobody got, we always talk about like, oh, and now you're playing Captain Salem, da 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 da. And I was like, you know what? Okay, let me sit down and do some self-assessment. Y'all know we be talking about that because uh, two things that is gonna be the catalyst for your change. Self-assessment so that you can figure out exactly where you are and how you got there, and then writing out your vision so that you're able to create goals and miles so that you're building strategically, not just doing stuff all over the place and everywhere and doing things that may or may not make sense for where it is that you think that you're trying to go, and also to identify where is it that you even trying to go in the first place. Even if you feel like you're sick of the current version of you, that's all well and good, but that doesn't give you the keys to, well, who are you trying to be? Who do you want to be? What do you aspire to? And so those are some of the questions that I would beg you to ask of yourself if you feel like you are stuck, if you feel like you are in a stagnant space, if you feel like you're in a space where you're like, well, dang, I don't know what to do. So, of course, so that I can try to stay organized for some of my ATCs, some of my GCs, I have a few points that I want to hit here with you guys. And the first one is talking about rescuing yourself. How I was talking about I became my own hero. While it may not be, it's not healthy to live in that permanently. You can definitely. make some changes so that you're able to step up to the plate for yourself. And when it's time for that grinding season, when it's time for you to grind it out, when it's time for you to boss up and do the things that you need to do so that you're able to get from your current level to the next level, or to get from point A to point B, in building out the dream life that you have for yourself, you do have to, it's like being your own hero. That's a version of self-rescuing. So you aren't just sitting being a victim waiting for somebody else to fix it for you. Partially, I would say don't do that, because if somebody else is fixing it for you, that means that they have the control, they have the power, and they're calling the shots. And when somebody else is calling the shots for you, how are you getting exactly what it is that you wanted if somebody else is just telling you what you wanted or what you want? So we are looking at radical honesty within ourselves. And that is part of what I mean when I talk about what would you want for your life sans anybody else's opinions, anybody else's advice, anybody else's, well, you should do this, you should do that. Aside from all of the stuff that they say, which we still don't know who the flip they is, but when you're looking at that radical honesty within yourself, you are doing away with the external validation of all of that stuff that they say, all of the stuff that everybody else has for you that may or may not be what you truly want for yourself. And also, I beg to ask, is that actually fair for you to just take on or live in that external validation? Um, when you, like, if everybody else is just telling you what to do, you aren't having any autonomy. You aren't having any say so over your life, your desires, what it is that you want, what would you like to do. And sometimes, if we take it a little bit deeper, if you letting everybody else influence what it is that you're doing or tell you what to do and how to live your life, if you're always waiting for that external validation, how are you living in your purpose? How are you operating in your purpose? Your purpose, the purpose for your life, that's between you and God. So if everybody else is like, "Oh, well, you should," did you think about, did you should prob yeah. Should you? Should you really? So that's where that radical honesty with yourself comes in. And you are like, when you are doing your self assessment, you do have to be completely, openly, uncomfortably honest with yourself so that you can make sure that if you are taking that turning point, or if this is serving as the catalyst for you turning over a new leaf, you taking a different path, you deciding that you are going to take charge and take control of your life, or take charge and take control of the direction that your life is going in, then you do have to, while you're doing that self assessment, if you aren't going to be radically honest, you still aren't going to get as far as you could. You won't be able to extract as much value as you could. And sometimes you may end up just in one big circle right back to where you started if you aren't being completely honest. Now, I'm not saying come on here on YouTube or come on social media or anywhere else and just start airing out all your stuff. I'm not saying go air out all your stuff everywhere. I'm saying that that radical honesty, when I say that it starts within, like, no, seriously, that is inside of you. And if you choose to share with anybody other than God, and or write it down in your journal, that's your choice, and that's up to you. You get to choose. And there is a bit of discomfort when you're recognizing and realizing that nobody else is coming. You can experience like feelings of abandonment, or empowerment, depending on what your mindset is when you decide to embark on your journey of having that radical honesty with yourself and deciding that you are going to be the captain of your ship. I mean, if you gonna look at anybody and you like, look at me, like, captain, like you are literally looking in a mirror when you have that little speech, or when you recite those movie lines, whatever hype you up speech it is that you're going to give, you're giving that to yourself. And make sure that your mindset is in the right place, that you aren't heading into it, even if you are headed into it because of a um negative feeling, because you're running from a negative feeling, or you don't want to experience some type of negative feeling. Make sure that you are going into it staying encouraged. Um and take inventory of where you're tolerating being stagnant in your life. Take inventory of any of the unhealthy patterns that you're carrying. What are those reasons that you feel like you want to change, or that you feel like you need a change? And like really like get down to the like granular with it. Get down real granular with it. Be very specific, because a lot of times when we say that we are unhappy, or it's like, oh, well, I'm kind of just having a moment, I'm in a funk, um, I'm depressed, and I'm gonna put up the air quotes. Why? What are the areas of your life or the specific things that are causing you to feel that way? Is it because of stagnation? Is it because you feel like you should have been further along than what you are? Those are two different things. You sitting in one spot, just, I feel sorry for myself, versus you have been making progress. You just thought that you would be at a different level. Those are two different things. And like that's something that you do need to think about it, because I wouldn't want you claiming like, oh yeah, I've just been sitting in place. If I mean, who is that that's been talking about that all this week? I tried to put her with Uncle Shay Shay. Oh, Tracy Ellis. Mm. And Tracy Ellis Ross. She was talking about the feeling of like grieving the life that you thought you would have. And I mean, I've been seeing my TL being flooded with those things. Not having the life that you thought that you would, or not being as far along as you thought that you would, that's not the same as being like, bump it, I ain't doing nothing else. I ain't doing it. I'm not trying. Lower progression forward versus no progression forward. Let's not conflate the two. Let's not. So that's one of the things that I want you to really pay attention to when you are being radically honest with yourself. And then also, it's gonna sting a little bit, but what are some of your unhealthy patterns? That person that you either keep calling them back, or when they call you back, you keep answering the phone. You ain't just went on ahead and put them on a nice little block party. Or was you supposed to be at the gym every morning at 5 a.m.? But sometimes you don't go to sleep until 5. So how you supposed to be at the gym and still be doing other stuff? Like, okay. I tell y'all, I'm not just gonna get on here and go on y'all. Like I'm talking to me too. Everybody has some type of unhealthy patterns that can change, or that they may like to change, and can go ahead and take the initiative to change if they so choose, so that you're able to get to that version of you that you would like to be. And when we're talking about getting to that version of you that you would like to be, please do realize, depending on how much stuff you're changing, you're gonna have to break up. You're gonna have to break up with somebody because, okay. But you see what I did there? But no, in all seriousness, for those of you that are listening on audio, I just pointed to that everybody can't go sign. But you are gonna have to have a breakup. And the breakup that you're gonna have to have is with the old you. Um, there is a difference between living in comfort and living in your calling. And when you are, oh, dare I say, in covenant with comfort, that is something that will keep you in that, like, keep you rooted in that same spot, keep you in stagnation, keep you from stepping out, moving forward, doing that scary thing, doing that uncomfortable thing, doing that thing that it may be hard, but it's for your good, doing that thing that you wholly don't want to do it, but it's required so that you can become that next version of you that you so desire. When you're making those moves and doing those uncomfortable things, are you moving in your purpose? Are you moving in what you were called to do? It's not necessarily gonna feel good, but dying to yourself and or breaking up with you is required. Because if the old you could get it done, she would have did it already. He would have did it already. You would have been living in or whatever way it is that you're trying to get to, the level that you're trying to, or the level that you are building to, because when we doing all that trying stuff, but the level that you are building to and building toward, if the old you could get that accomplished, he or she would have already done it. It wouldn't be no point of a level up. It wouldn't even be called a level up if the old you could do it. Excuse me. So you do have to break up with that old version of yourself. Um, and it's okay to honor that previous version of yourself. Like you can honor yourself in that breakup. That old version of you was doing the best that they could do at the time with the information they had, with the resources that they had, with the energy they had, the knowledge. So sometimes when we are moving on from our old self to our newer self, when we are leveling up in whatever area or all areas of our life, I mean, you were doing the best that you could. And even if you weren't, maybe you didn't have the energy to, maybe you didn't have the desire to, maybe you didn't want to, maybe you was just like bump all this. But specifically speaking to those of you who you were doing the best you could with what you had at the time, that is okay. That is okay. And just because that was okay for that time, that season, doesn't make it okay for you to stay there beyond the amount of time that you were supposed to be there. Mm. We talk about time being finite. It's your most valuable commodity. That doesn't mean that you should spend it all or spend too much of it in places or phases of your life or seasons of your life where you have either outgrown or you have gleaned everything from that era in your life that you needed to or that you could glean from there. So um when you're examining that old version of yourself, it's okay to grieve the loss of the old you. Oh, all my Megan needs wish that we could just still be at the club Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and go for a good Taco Tuesday. Yes, amen. And still make it to Sunday school on time on Sunday morning. Be a straight Baptist heathen. Yeah, I said it. Shout out to NCBC. But Um, like, no, seriously, like there is sometimes a grieving process when you're looking at letting go of the previous versions of you. And okay, you might not be grieving, not going to the club repeatedly, but sometimes you can grieve an era. I mean, like graduations. Now is graduation season. Graduations are always like a happy time. You've made an accomplishment, you reached a certain milestone, um, what you have been working so hard for the past 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years for, um, is finally coming to fruition. You have your cap, you have your gown now, but you look crazy graduating high school and you still after graduation, you still trying to go to the gym or you still like trying to kick it at the school. Like, no, the era is over. It's time for you to like move to the next level. Whether, that's going off to college, going to trade school, moving into the work world, any of that stuff. The point is physically it is it's not appropriate for you to still be like once you graduate, you don't show up on the first day of school in September or August, whenever. You don't show up to the first day of school back at high school again. You finish that era, you finish that season. And the same thing when you're, graduating from college or trade school or whatever, you graduate with the intent to go to the next level to move on in life. Now, I get it that you could go from baccalaureate to um, grad level, all that. Like, miss me with the minute. You know where I'm going with this. So, like, just, but when you get to that certain level, that pinnacle, it would just seem asinine to like go back and start over from the beginning, or like go back expecting to, I don't know, like do a redo or whatever. It's time for you to, once you have ascended to that level, now it's time for you to take everything that you've learned and continue to move on, continue to move up, continue to build upon that foundation that you have been working on for those 4 to 8 years. And I go all the way up to 8 years just because, I mean, financial stuff happens. Sometimes you need a semester off. You might be getting your doctorate, just all of those different things. I'm not going to assume that everybody is just like, oh, yeah, four and I'm done. But um, when you are overstaying in certain areas, you're overstaying in certain seasons of your life, where do y'all think the brand came from? It was time for some people to go. And when you overstay at a place that you shouldn't be, and we're talking about between you and external factors, but take that a step further, and what happens when we're looking only at the internal factors of overstaying in a certain place, in a certain headspace, in a certain heart space, shoot, sometimes in a certain physical space. And it's been time for you to break up with that old version of you and ascend to the next set of things that God has for you, the next set of things or ideas that you have in mind for yourself, to ascend to getting to that next thing on your goal list. So, when you're looking at what things about the old you do you need to break up with, or what is the version of the old you that you need to break up with so that you're able to continue growing and moving forward. I want you to think about some of the habits, mindsets, and possibly even identities that you carry, um, and ones that can be hindering your growth. What are some of the habits that you're keeping that it could have served you 2 years ago, 4 years ago? Some of the people that you may be in company with, that you may be surrounded by, that 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 10 years ago, you guys were able to pour into each other. You were serving one another. And now, not so much. Now it's just not the season. Everybody can't go. Not all the time. What are some of the mindsets that you kept? There may be spaces where you were willing to be about the drama. You were willing to argue. At the time, you felt like you did need to take a stand. You needed to stand up and speak out for yourself because that was part of you being a hero for yourself. Does that still currently serve you in the season that you're in now? Sometimes the answer is no. So make sure that you take a really deep look at the habits, mindsets, people, and even identities. Some of the descriptors that we take on, the way that other people describe us. And yeah, folks gonna have something to say about, oh, you acting brand new. Oh, you would have did da 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 da. Well, that's great. We're done with her now. We're on to a higher level. We're on to more refinement. We're on to something better. drawn to something improved. It's funny, let you upgrade you. So much to say. But if you were still walking around with an iPhone 4, so much to say. Cool to upgrade phones, but not to upgrade yourself. Depending on who you're talking to, depending on the company you keep. And if that's the case, and that's the type of energy that the people that you surround your life with are giving you, because the new you decided to pop out or peek out, show up, sometimes it might be time for a new circle. And I would say don't be afraid of it because the change happens when you are actually fed up. Like I tell people all the time, when somebody complaining about whatever, I'm like, it ain't hurting bad enough. Well, what you mean? I'm in pain. My head hurts. My heart hurts. Whatever hurts. Obviously, it don't hurt bad enough because you're still there. You ain't changed nothing. You ain't doing nothing different. You ain't went. You ain't went to the gym. You ain't made a budget. You ain't stopped eating the stuff that you ain't supposed to. You ain't drink your water. You ain't quit calling. You ain't quit answering. You ain't quit saying yes when you should have said no. So obviously, it don't hurt bad enough. So you ain't fed up enough to make sure that you stop the behavior, the habit, the person, set the boundary for um, those changes to take place. And usually people experience like an extreme catalyst for change when they are like completely fed up. Like I'm talking about like overly frustrated, very like very disappointed, like in the depths of despair, or they're like literally just exhausted. They're exhausted with whatever the situation is. And while all of those things carry negative connotation, it can be morphed into a positive when you use that feeling, that pain, and you repurpose it. When it's repurposed into being used, the energy is being reused to propel you forward in the right direction or in a different direction. And like the feeling of being fed up, and it's like, yeah, no, not doing this. I'll tell you something about me. I can almost tell you down, not almost, I can tell you down to the pound on the scale when it's like, oh, yeah, one cheeseburger too many. Yep, time to go to the gym, do a little detox, make sure that I'm paying attention to what I'm eating because my knee hurt. That little bit of knee hurt, that's enough warning for me to be like, nope, because I don't want it to big hurt. That's okay. Nope. That mean we need to drop 10, drop 15, drop whatever. Just don't drop me. I ain't about to keep like, oh yeah, I'm gonna eat that too. No, I'm not. Because that little it hurt me bad enough that I don't want to find out no more. I don't want to find out nothing else. Nope. Felt what I need to feel, and it's time to go to the gym. Time to rev up on my workout. It's time to stop eating pizza. It's time to drink some more water. It's time to look up what are the joint healthy foods that I should be eating. No, I don't want these dang on bananas, but give it here because it's what I'm supposed to be doing for my health. Um, and I mean, uh, the pains that we experience when we're looking at growing, it is valid. Your pain is valid. And I know I talk about my situation in a joking way and I use something physical as an example, but even in emotional or mental situations, it's still the same thing. If it's hurting bad enough, you will move. If it's hurting bad enough, you will do something different. If it's hurting bad enough, if you're frustrated enough, disappointed enough, exhausted enough, sad enough, mad enough, hurt enough, whatever, you will find a way to change your life for the better, to go into a different direction. But that pain that you feel, that negative feeling that you feel, or possibly a combination of some of those different feelings that I named, um, It is the way that you feel is valid, but I'm saying don't dwell there. Don't live there. Don't be in that feeling or feelings and refuse to leave. I know sometimes that is hard to do. I'm not saying you can't have I mean, I would recommend a little siesta there, but if you need to stay for a while, sometimes that's required and that's okay too. But what I'm saying is make sure it's a short-term stay. We're not setting up camp and setting up residence and starting to like rebar the ground and all this other stuff because like it's like yes I am going to live here in this frustration, I'm going to live here in this disappointment, I'm just going to live here, I'm going to stay in this exhaustion. That is not what we want to do. We actually want to do quite the opposite. You can honor your feelings, um validate those pains that you have, but make sure that you continue to push through that and or even sit with yourself to give yourself the time to breathe so that you can create a plan to execute for you to grow. Because again, I don't want you to just pick up a bunch of random stuff and it's like, oh, it's all good stuff, it's all good stuff, but it's not really getting you anywhere. So that is why I always say get quiet and take that time. Um, take the time, the quiet time to actually think about it. Because if you aren't thinking about how to kickstart that growth and how to go into a positive direction that is what you want, you kind of go back to my first point, um and you end up in a cycle where you just went through all this stuff, all these emotions, you've gone through taking your stand, being your own hero. If you aren't thinking strategically and get to that point where you're writing your vision down and taking the time to think about what it is that you want to do, for sure, for certain, you could be on a path doing all of these great things, but you're on a path going in the wrong direction when what you really wanted was to be going that way. And so, even though that quiet time can hurt, validate the hurt, honor the hurt, and then do something with it. Do something strategic with it so that you can make sure that once you have rerouted, recalibrated, that getting, you're actually getting closer to what it is that you would like for your life to look like. The longer you stay on the wrong train, the more expensive it is to get back home. So you want to make sure that you at least at the right train station when you get to based upon moving to that next or newer version of yourself. And then my last point for today is talking about embodying self leadership. We It's always recommended that you have, or I always recommend that you have a camp of supporting people around you, good friends, excuse me, good friends, wise counsel, making sure that you have, look, get you a therapist on deck in the stigma. Make sure that you have a good, sound, and wise spiritual leader. But even with all of those folks surrounding you, to help mentor you, guide you, get you a coach. Shameless plug to me. Get you a coach, get you a professional workplace mentor, all of those things. But even in doing that, um, that all is a part of self-leadership. And when you are moving through some of these changes that you would like to make, for some, it's easy to be the victim, that it's always what happened to you instead of what happened for you, what was done to you versus the lesson that you got from somebody else acting a fool. And I know some situations it's easier said than done in terms of calling it for what it is, when somebody does something to you or lies on you or treats you with ill intent or with ill will. But again, you get to choose. You get to choose whether or not you will learn a lesson from that. You get to choose whether you'll use that for one of your reps with setting those boundaries and communicating them in a healthy and effective way. Are you practicing that getting comfortable with being uncomfortable? And when you're looking at becoming your own hero, and being in that like ultimate space of self-empowerment, self-care, of self-leadership, go ahead and step into your new habits. Remember to establish those new boundaries. Think about what do you need now from the people that you surround your life with. Be able to explain it so that they're able to understand. Like not just kind of glossing over it, making sure that you're honoring your new feelings, honoring your new set of needs, but also being honorable in your communication of your new needs to people who they may still be along for the ride, but they may not have necessarily grown the same way as you, or they may not be growing at the same rate and pace as you. But I will tell you this, if they're a person who truly cares about you and cares for you, those new boundaries aren't going to be a deal breaker for them. Make sure that you take courage in the decisions that you're making, and pay attention to the shifts that you're making. Small habits for creating great, small wins, great distances. Um, Implementing small habits, little habits that will yield you big results over time with consistency and dedication. And eventually you're going to meet the new version of yourself once and it's sometimes it takes a longer time to see because we're with ourselves every day, all the time. So all of those small changes that I just encourage you to make, all of the small habits or the habit stacking that you could do so that you're getting that much closer to the version of you that you'd like to be. Um, like that new you, she's there, he's there. And sometimes they're a lot closer than what you think. Like it's just a couple more steps. And do know that people outside of you will notice the changes and they'll know that new version of you when he or she arrives. And own that. Own that, the new set of responsibilities that comes with that, the new set of boundaries that comes with that, but also the new rewards and the new way of life and the next level that comes with becoming that new version of you. So, um, those are my 4 points. That's all I have for you guys today. I do have some amazing announcements. I have some announcements, some shameless plugs. So, shout out to you guys for making it to the end of this live, the end of this video. And so, special announcement, special delivery. What was that? That guy G Dub style. We have the first annual PodPeeps Meetup in the DMV area. So if you are local to the DMV and or if you just want to travel and you want to come kick it with the homies, we have the first annual PodPeeps Meetup DMV 2025. And we have a full day of conferencing and learning on Saturday, June 28th, starting bright and early at 9 a.m. We ain't gonna be on CP time. I, to be early is to be on time, and to be on time is to be late. We ain't gonna be on CP time, but starting bright and early at 9 a.m. where you will be able to get coaching, vision building sessions, goal strategy sessions, as well as the tips and motivation that you need so that you can level up and win, win, win. We have coming on with us several guest speakers, including yours truly, of course. Duh, that's why I'm telling you. But we have some amazing people from the crew coming through. We have Nas, who's going to be coming through. Check back to episode, I think like 18 or something like that. We have Nasir Cook coming back through from Changing the Narrative. We have Tev coming through from Chop House Media Group. Check out Top House Logic podcast. And then we also have JR coming through from the Real Let's Talk podcast. So we also have some other amazing speakers in the works for you guys, which I'm not gonna give away everything today. I'm not gonna give all of it away, but we have some additional announcements that'll be coming up for you guys in the coming weeks. You can get your tickets on Eventbrite now, actually. So tickets are live, and this serves as the official announcement that we will be seeing you guys, whoever decides to show up and get in the room where it happened, the room where I have a couple of followers in particular. Y'all know that that little song break was for you. Love you. But yes, Saturday, June 28th, it's going down. We have a lineup of amazing speakers for you guys. You never know who's going to be in the room. You never know who's going to show up. Latin. Um, and you never know what type of swag, perks, free stuff that you're going to get. So click the link below. Get your tickets on Eventbrite, and we will see you guys next week for another Everybody Can't Go convo. Thanks for tuning in.